जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी गोपी जना भालाभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जना भालाभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय यशोदानंदना जय व्रजजनरंजना जय व्रजजनरंजना यशोदानंदना जय व्रजजनरंजना जय व्रजजनरंजना जमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्रीमद His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada की जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्रीमद His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki, Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Nitai Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shishiguru and Shiguranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, the Summon Bonon, Chapter 9, Mother Yasoda binds Lord Krishna. Text number 20. Neman birinchona bhavo, Neman birinchona bhavo, Nasrir apyanga samsraja, Nasrir apyanga sansaja, Prasadan lebhire gopi, Prasadan lebhire gopi, Jattat prapa vimuktidat, Jattat prapa vimuktidat. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Na, not. Iman, this exalted position. Virinchaha, Lord Brahma. Na, nor. Babaha, Lord Shiva. Na, nor. Srihi, the goddess of fortune. Api, indeed. Angasam Sraja, although she is always the better half of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prasadam, mercy. Lebhire, obtain. Gopi, Mother Yashoda. Yat tat, as that which. Prapa, obtain. Vimuktidat, from Krishna, who give deliverance from this material world. Translation. Neither Lord Brahma, nor Shiva, nor even the goddess of fortune, who is always the better half of the Supreme Lord, can obtain from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the deliverer from this material world, such mercy as received by Mother Yashoda. Purport. This comparative study between Mother Yashoda and other devotees of the Lord, as stated in Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi 5:142, Ekale Ishwara Krishna Arashabda Britya. The only Supreme Master is Krishna, and all others are His servants. Krishna has the transcendental quality of Britya Vasyata, becoming subordinate to his Britya, or servant. Now, although everyone is Britya, and although Krishna has the quality of becoming subordinate to his Britya, the position of Mother Yashoda is the greatest. Lord Brahma is Britya, a servant of Krishna, and he is Adikavi, the original creator of the universe. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavaye. Nonetheless, even he could not obtain such mercy as Yasoda. As for Lord Shiva, he is the topmost Vaishnava. Vaishnavan Yatam Sambhu. What to speak of Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, is the constant companion in service, since she always associates with his body. But even she could not get such mercy. Therefore, Maharaj Parikshit was surprised, thinking, quote, what did Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj do in their previous life by which they got such a great opportunity, the opportunity to be the affectionate father and mother of Krishna, quote. In this verse there are 3 negative pronouncements, na, na, na. When anything is uttered 3 times, do it, do it, do it, one should understand that this is meant to indicate great stress on a fact. In this verse we find na levide, na levide, na levide. Yet Mother Yashoda is in the supermost exalted position, and thus Krishna has become completely subordinate to her. The word vimuktidat is also significant. There are different types of liberation, such as sayuya, salokya, sarupya, sharsti, and samipya. But vimukti means a special mukti. When after liberation one is situated on the platform of prema bhakti, one is said to have achieved vimukti, a special mukti. Therefore, the word na is mentioned. That exalted platform of prema is described by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as prema pumarto mahan. And Mother Yashoda naturally acts in such an exalted position in loving affairs. She is therefore a Nitya Shida devotee, an expansion of Krishna Hladini potency, his potency to enjoy transcendental bliss through expansions who are special devotees. Ananda Chimayar, Ananda Chimaya Rasa Pratibhabhi. Such devotees are not sadhana siddha. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Ummilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Ramapat Swami Iti Namine. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatyaya Satarine Vanchakalpatarubhyasha Kripasindu Vyaevacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha. We hear that the spiritual world, although is absolute, is full of variegateness. And within that variegateness, there is so many different layers that amounts to different moods or rasas or mellows, as Prabhupada translates, or means to relate and serve the personality of Godhead. So sometimes we hear Prabhupada using this, that there is confidential, but there is more confidential, and there is most confidential. So there is different levels, there is different types, there's a varieties, and there is certain hierarchy, or there are certain things that within those classes or those levels, one is greater than the other. And now we're hearing that Maharaj Parikshit is becoming, through hearing the narrations of Krishna's pastimes as a baby in Vrindavan and hearing the type of pastime that he's performing, a type of relationship that he's that he's having with both Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, that he's very surprised and actually with awe at the position, the special position of Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. Because Krishna becomes fully controlled and dependent on them. And the amazing observation is that there's so many powerful, great devotees that Maharaj Parikshit understands and admires and follows. But however, these great personalities, great devotees of the Lord, that are constant companions, that are stalwart servants of the Lord, they don't even come close to receive the type of mercy or the type of opportunity that Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj have received. So Srila Sukadev Goswami tells Maharaj Parikshit, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, what to speak of Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, Lakshmi Devi, who is the better half of the Supreme Lord, doesn't receive this type of opportunity. What is exactly this opportunity is that the Lord becomes fully controlled. The Lord becomes dependent. And that allows to a position when one is a dependent, one is receiving. When one is a dependent, one doesn't give too much, but one fully receives. So, in the relationships that we have with the Supreme Lord, we are dependents. And the Lord is given. The Lord gives His mercy, the Lord gives His maintenance, the Lord gives His protection. So that's the position of the living entity towards the personality of Godhead. But this special class of devotees, the Lord, the positions switch. So the Lord becomes the receiver and the devotee becomes the giver. The devotee is the one who provides protection, maintenance, and the devotee is the one who gives to the Supreme Lord. So, the type of devotion that manifests, that the devotee doesn't want to see anything, he doesn't mind about anything, but just to actually give all the things to the personality of Godhead. And Krishna becomes like the dependent person or the dependent side that receive everything, and receive everything, receive all that affection and that love. And the most heightened, is that right way to say, of this type of dependency, of being completely dependent on the protection, on the maintenance, and on the mercy of the giver, is between a child and a mother. When the child is completely dependent for everything. Actually, the child cannot do anything independently from the mother. It's completely dependent. It's the only relationship that is like that. Because in the other relationships that are there, including conjugal relationship, there's independence. There's certain independence, and there's two persons, but it's not the same degree of dependency that is there of a child. The child requires every single thing to be done by the mother. So this position of Mother Yashoda is quite exalted. And that's what these great personalities like Sukadev Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit are appreciating. So there's different classes of devotees, and so what the narrations of the 10th canto is starting to go into Krishna in Vrindavan and the type of relationships and affection, the type of service that is rendered in Vrindavan, in which there's no understanding, or the relationship is not with Krishna as the supreme controller, but the relationship is with Krishna as either a fully dependent child in the parental rasa, or an equal that is in the friendly rasa, or the friendship rasa, and as a lover in the Parakiya Madhurya rasa. And also there's a servants, the little gopas, they serve Krishna as the elder. So, but all these relationships, there's a block. There's no understanding of Krishna's position as God. So this is going to be narrated by Sukadev Goswami, and goes further and further into that type of love, or that type of level of the relationship that we have with the personality of Godhead. That is called Braja Prema or Braja Bhakti, the devotional service in the realm of Vrindavan. So it's the highest position, and is the most intimate. And then that is where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes to give to the world, which is why we pray to Lord Chaitanya as Namo Mahavadanyaya. He is the most magnanimous, because he comes to give this Krishna Prema. And so by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, somehow or other, we get the opportunity. We get the opportunity to be able to enter into this most exalted realm. Lord Chaitanya teaches us how to. And Lord Chaitanya leads us how to enter into that realm. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is explained that nevertheless there's a process to do it, that we actually become, as Lord Chaitanya say, we're given the identity, and we are Gopi Bhartar Pada Kamalayor Dasa Dasa Anudas. We become the Dasa Dasa Anudas, the insignificant servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of the master of the gopis. So there are these great personalities who are in this most exalted position that not even Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma can even approach. And we become the servants of the servants of the servants of these great personalities. And through that, then we can actually enter into this realm. So there is a distinction. There is the devotees, or these sadhana siddha devotees, that are the ones who are going up, following. And there is a nitya siddha devotees, the eternally perfected beings, that Prabhupada explains their expansions of his potency, his pleasure potency, Ladini Shakti. Sadhakas, then by the process of purification, you achieve perfection by following in the footsteps of these great souls, great personalities, Nitya Siddhas. Lord Chaitanya, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he says this: Sei Bhakta Gana Hoy Dui Vida Prakara Parishat Ganaeka Sadhaka Gana Ar. Pure devotees are of two types: personal associates, parisats, and neophyte devotees, sadhakas. So you make these two distinctions, Lord Chaitanya. There is the eternal personal associates of the Lord, and there is those who are sadhakas, and he calls it neophyte, the sadhakas. Perfect servitors of the Lord are considered his personal associates, whereas devotees endeavoring to gain perfection are called neophytes. Among the associates, some are attracted by the opulence of the personality of Godhead, and others are attracted by nuptial love of Godhead. The former devotees are placed in the realm of Vaikuntha to render reverential devotional service, whereas the later devotees are placed in Vrindavan for the direct service of Sri Krishna. So that's what we lead to by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Here the categories of great devotees are given. It is explained that the sadhaka is the neophyte devotee who is advancing on the basis of following regulated principles for the purpose of allowing the natural attraction for Krishna to take place. And Lord's personal associates are those pure devotees who have obtained the perfection of life in the sense that they are attracted by the natural instincts to the loving service of the Lord. And here it is described that such pure devotees are categorized as those who are attracted by the opulence of the personality of Godhead, and others who are attracted by the natural love of Godhead. It means very intimate. So the former is placed in the Dham of Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha is that place where those pure souls who have completely immersed in the loving surrender to the Lord dwell, having the same bodily features as the Lord, as his eternal servitor. In the Vaikuntha planets, everyone recognizes that Narayan is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the absolute truth, and how infinitely blissful it is that they never have to suffer birth and death. They never have to suffer old age or disease. In pure spiritual bodies, they reciprocate loving service to the Lord. The Lord is the Supreme Master, and they are the eternal loving servants. This is Vaikuntha Dham, the spiritual world. But it is described in the Brahma Samhita, and also explained here by Srila Prabhupada, that all the Vaikuntha planets, Goloka, is considered as the highest of all spiritual realms, because there the sense of awe and reverence is forgotten due to an intensification of one's intimate affection for Lord Sri Krishna. And in Goloka Vrindavan, essentially, there are three rasas: Sakhya rasa, Vatsalya rasa, and Madhurya rasa. Loving friendship, love as a parent, as well as love as a conjugal lover. It is described that even the servants of the Lord are mixed with these higher, more intimate affections. In Vaikuntha, no one considers himself to be Narayan's friend. But to speak of his parents, of his lover, they are all his eternal obedient servants and worshiping him with love. So, Srila Sanatana Goswami narrates the story of Gopa Kumar, who, in his quest to find who is the greatest devotee, he goes to so many different realms, starting with the heavenly planets. And in each different realms, he goes from Indra Loka to Tapaloka, and like that. He's going higher and higher. And as he goes to the different realms, he's meeting different types of devotees, in different levels of devotees. And he asks, oh, you're the greatest. In this realm, you're the greatest. So in Swarga, the greatest devotee is Lord Indra. But Indra say, no, no, no. There's a much greater devotee than me in the next realm. So he goes, and like that. So he's going from realm to realm. He goes up to Brahma Loka, and Lord Brahma says, no, Lord Shiva is greater. So he goes to Kailash, to Lord Shiva's realm, and Lord Shiva says, no, you go to this other place, so like that. They go to Prahlad Maharaj, goes through Narada Muni, Prahlad Maharaj, Hanuman, and eventually, after passing through Vaikuntha, he lands in Goloka Vrindavan, and that's where he finds himself in this greatest realm, or the topmost realm, in which he is received by Krishna and embrace the famous painting of Krishna receiving Gopakumar by embracing him. Where have you been? We're waiting for you, Krishna saying. So, treating him like a friend, and that he was missing so much. So, this is a type of appreciation that we get by hearing the pastimes of Krishna's in Vrindavan. And this is what Maharaj Parikshit is appreciating and asking Srila Sukadev Goswami, who's also sharing the same appreciation. So it's wonderful. Any comments or questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you for your class. I didn't have time to finish my notes, so please forgive me if it's pretty sporadic, my comment and question. But my comment and question is related to the point you were mentioning in Briha Bhagavatam, right? Gopa Kumar, who is the greatest devotee. And one point, and related to this verse too, like I said, I haven't had time to really gather my thoughts, but in the material world, we see in this verse, people try to become the greatest. Because this verse mentions controlling Krishna, and sometimes people try to control others with their beauty, their fame, and their high education. And another type of superficial control that people try to control others with, we could see from this verse, is with their upadi as a great spiritualist, the greatest. Everyone's trying to achieve greatness. But one thing I appreciated, I mentioned this verse, this comment by Jayapataka Maharaj. He mentions in the Vaishnava K, verse 3, I believe, in commentaries to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's poem. He says, just as a spider is never entangled by its web, so also Krishna can never be entangled in the web of beauty, fame, education, lust, anger, greed, etc. The only thing he's controlled by is prema. Prema haite Krishna hoy nija bhakta vash. Prema haite poi Krishneta seva sukha ras. Same thing. Krishna's only controlled by, one who has prema. Nor can he be controlled by one who's dressed as a great spiritualist. And so there's two pastimes from the Bible I'm kind of thinking of. One pastime, Jesus describes who's the greatest. This is the pastime where, and it's also mentioned in many verses, in many different ways in the Chaitanya Charitamrita and other Vedic literatures. Basically, this pastime is where Jesus was considered a spiritual celebrity. And he walked into one town, and everyone was surrounding him, touching him. Oh, Jesus, you're a celebrity. Everyone was, so happy to see him. And there was one lady, however, who had a blood disorder. She was very sick, contaminated. She had a blood disorder for many years, and she only thought in her mind, if I only touch the cloak of Jesus when he walks by, somehow or other, if I could touch his cloak, then I know I will be healed, because she tried to go to so many doctors to heal her, but they couldn't be able to heal her. So when Jesus walked by her, she touched his cloak and was immediately healed. And you know what Jesus says? He says, he told his disciples, who touched me? And his disciples look at him confused. You see this mosh pit, these people around you, everyone's touching you. He was like, no, who touched me? Who touched my heart? And then they discovered who touched him. The woman who considered herself the most fallen touched him. And in the Bible, Jesus says, I'm not attracted to those who consider themselves the greatest, the most pure. I'm attracted to those who consider themselves the most fallen. In the Bible, Matthew 9:12, he says, it is not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick. I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners to repentance. So to the degree we think we're the greatest, the most pure, we don't need any help. Why do we need the mercy of great Vaishnavas? They're only attracted to those who consider themselves the most fallen. And so there's another pastime where Martin Luther King rephrased the pastime of, rephrased a verse from Jesus Christ. Long story short, there was two disciples of Jesus, John and I forget the other one. But basically, they wanted to be the greatest disciples. They said, Jesus, what can we do to be the greatest, your greatest sidekicks? And Jesus was kind of, I wouldn't say irritated, but he basically enlightened them. He says, he described who is the greatest. One who is the greatest considers himself servant first and master last. In one speech by Martin Luther King, it's called Drum Major Instinct. He paraphrased this verse from Jesus Christ. He was like, in effect, Jesus was essentially saying, don't give up the instinct of being superior to others. Don't give up the instinct of being first. But I want you to be first in love. I want you to be first in moral excellence. I want you to be first in generosity. That is the new definition of greatness. So if I had to ask the question, what are some steps we can move forward to gain this realization on a daily basis? Because that's what we have a tendency, generally we have the tendency, this verse mentions that who's the greatest? Mother just told us the greatest. And so sometimes in our devotee community, we're trying to achieve the greatness by stepping over each other. But actually you can become the greatest by allowing others to step over you. So what are some steps we can move forward to gain this realization? Because as long as we see that, as long as we have this desire to step over others, kama esha kroda esha rajaguna samu bhavaha, then we'll always be contaminated by anger, because sometimes we're honored and sometimes we're dishonored. So if you always consider yourself the lowest, then you'll always be peaceful. It doesn't matter. That's why that verse says from the last verse of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Primeta swabhav yaham primeta sambandha, se mane Krishna mora nahi prima ganda. Those who have love of God think I don't have love of God. Nahi prima ganda, I'm the lowest of the board. So what are some steps we can move forward to keep this in mind? And otherwise, anyone could say, I want people to go first before me, but Krishna knows what our consciousness is. So for those who may put on external show but still dissatisfied, how do we crystallize this in our life?
I think something that I consider right now very relevant in my personal sort of a practice is going a little deeper on being introspective, because Krishna is very expert. Guru and Krishna are very expert in squashing your false ego. And we constantly, it's natural for us to actually have false ego. That's what we are. We're here in this material world. That's what we have, one of these things, So it is expected that we have false ego, and we have all these different designations and concepts of self. And that we want to control is natural. That's why we're conditioned. So all the things are there, and they're going to be there until we become pure devotees. So it's expected that we go through a process of purification and adjustment. And as devotees, as sadhakas, the process of purification will take us there. But the process of purification calls for us to be introspective. Is part of the process that we have to look inwards. And because the whole focus is in the heart, the cleansing of the heart. So we have to go inwards to understand and to pay attention to cleanse the heart. So the whole thing is about introspection. And introspection is very bitter and painful, because what introspection does, if you're sincerely following and you're paying attention, is that you start to see that, my God, the thing is, you're not even close to the idea that you have of the self. Basically, it pulverizes your false ego. We think of ourselves that we have some value, we have something to offer. We all think like that. But Krishna is very expert, and Guru are very expert, because they're helping us. They're helping us in this process of understanding how to cleanse ourselves from all those unwanted things. The problem that we have in the process of purification as we coming along with. And Krishna will naturally sort of dismantle that if we hold on to the process, if we don't give up the process. We become too distracted, we miss the opportunity to go inwards, and immediately we go outwards. When Krishna brings us in the situation to face his arrangement to actually minimize our false ego, then instead of going inwards and understanding how Krishna is showing me, I go outwards and say, oh, this is happening, you know, and start to point fingers or find reasons, external reasons of why Krishna's arrangement to squash my false ego is happening. So I don't see me as you know, the cause, but rather I see so many things at the cause. I miss the opportunity to go inwards because I maintain myself focused outwards. But if we remain sincerely in the process of serving the devotees, if we keep up, you know, the process of chanting, doing our sadhana to the best of our abilities, we get there. Krishna will take us there. However, we have to be ready to get to tolerate some pain, because this process of purification is painful. To basically pulverize something in which you have built your whole concept of self is hard. You know, when you have to knock down everything that you build thinking that this is it, and you have to, you know, knock that down and sort of change the whole concept of self. It's not easy, it's painful. But no pain, no gain. So we have to be ready for that. So it's the whole thing, I believe very strongly, is we pay attention inwards. So it's very simple. You have a conflict? You know, that's a great opportunity to look inwards. You know, in general, we have a conflict. We have a conflict with you know, the three miseries of life, with other people, other atmas, with nature, with God, you know. Yeah, with our own body and our mind. You know, if we're miserable, if we experience some sort of misery, that's great. I'm looking inwards. And like that, that's the easiest, you know. And when things are going great, that you often, you know, bring this thing, when things are going great my way, then I look inwards too. You know, how Krishna is reciprocating, how Krishna is facilitating, how Krishna, you know, is giving me this facility, and how can I use it carefully, you know, and appreciate it. Like that. So I think I find it a very important aspect of the practice of sadhana, to be introspective. Anything else? All right. Keep it short, though.
One last comment, and appreciate your point. You were mentioning at the beginning of answering my questions that Lord Krishna is very expert at revealing our false ego, or in crushing our false ego. And I really appreciate that point, because we see, I believe in your class you mentioned that verse, we shouldn't consider ourselves Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, but servant of the servant of the servant. I believe you mentioned that, if I'm correct. And anyone can say that, obviously, but Krishna is very expert at revealing whether we truly believe that or not. Just like anyone could be consider themselves the humble servant of the servant when they're always honored. And the one example I bring up all the time is Durvasa Muni. You know, he had many disciples, and he considered himself a great spiritualist. But then when he wasn't getting so much honor, when everyone was honoring Ambarish Maharaj, then his true consciousness came out, whether he truly believed that, you know, he was a humble spiritualist. He wasn't. So anyone can be humble when they're always honored, but the real test of someone's humility is when someone else is honored. And that's why Bhaktisiddhanta, he says in one article, Sri Guru Tapa and Seva, he says real humility is never found in an external show of humility, which is actually mere duplicity. And there's a nice quote that says, watch your thoughts, they become words. Watch your words, it becomes your actions. Watch your actions, it becomes your habit. Watch your habit, it becomes your character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny. Right. And that's what's always said in the Gita. Dhyayato vishayam pumsa sangase shubhajayate sangat sanjayate kama krodo bijayate kroda bhavati samoha samohat shriti vibramaha shriti bramsha buddhinasho buddhinasha pranashati. Everything begins with dhyan. Dhyayato, your thoughts, and then usually for us it ends in pranashati. Your destiny, which means degradation. It says one will fall down if you have negative thoughts. So the more we have positive thoughts about Krishna, it's easy to have positive thoughts about Krishna because he doesn't give us any feedback, but it's harder to have positive thoughts about devotees because, you know, they criticize us, they disagree with us. So as long as we maintain negative thoughts, then Krishna will embarrass us and, you know, just to make us humble. So anyway, it's better to have positive thoughts about devotees than negative thoughts. I've learned in my life. Anyway, thank you so much.
Well said. Thank you so much. Garantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.